I love men. Like, I think men are the coolest, but I don't need them to survive.
You do actually need men to survive, and here's why. Everything that you see around you was built and created and maintained by men.
Okay.
Everything. The infrastructure in this country, in every single country in the world, is built, created, and maintained by good, honest, hardworking men that just want to provide for their family. Everything, the roads you drive on, the buildings you live in.
Hello. What does it mean when a woman says, I don't need men to survive? Well, obviously to the contrary, that is not true. You need men in society to survive because we hold the very infrastructure that makes this tier of prosperity possible. Without men, there is no society. We forge it back together, from plumbers, from lumberjacks, to carpenters, to oil rig workers, the people who work with their hands and hold this infrastructure together. Without men, you don't have those problems being solved, and the very ability to walk past each other in broad daylight, that dissipates because men made the society feel safe. Together we work together to achieve this level of prosperity, but without men, you do not have safety. Wild beasts come along and they eat you. Animals start eating you. If you don't have the infrastructure needed to hold society together, to build society, to erect a safe society that's guarded and protected, even when you're sleeping, eventually it all falls apart and animals start eating you, bacteria starts eating you. Just chaos and death and destruction without men. You need men. But why would she still say this? Why would she say, I don't need men to survive? Well, she doesn't acknowledge the average man who holds society together. She doesn't acknowledge them as a potential mate. And she says, I'd rather be alone because she cannot secure a high-level male, which is a fraction of the population, a very small percentage of men, a small percentage of men. She cannot get them, so she said, I'd just rather be alone. Men don't want me. Men don't want me. No, the men you were selecting, the high-value males that you're looking for, do not want you because they have other selection, and you cannot mate with the average man because you don't respect them. That's what she's saying in essence. When she says this, she's saying she does not respect men. Because if she did, she'd probably be attracted to them. If she acknowledged what men do for society, she'd probably say, this is a good man. He's making a way to live for himself. He may not be the richest. He may not be the most prosperous, but he's earning a way to live for himself. And through this process, if we work together, we'd be able to actually have a family. Instead of looking at the world like that, she's saying, I don't respect this man. I'm not even going to acknowledge him. And because of that, most men in society are now unavailable to her. She's alone. She's alone, and now she's living with a coping mechanism. It is a byproduct of a coping mechanism. She's saying, I'd rather just be alone. Awesome. It just, yeah. That coping mechanism is saying, if I can't find a high-value male to reproduce with, if I can't get the best male to reproduce with, I'm just going to be with no one. That's what she means. And what does this innately mean in the long run for society? Good men who are not selected by reasonable women will eventually have a lack of motivation to actually produce value to the infrastructure. It'll slowly start to fall apart. Men will become soft trying to placate to women. It'll fall apart. Instead of becoming men of value, regardless of your monetary status, you're a man of value, like essentially a man who achieves a high degree of value by contributing back to the infrastructure of society. That's what a valuable individual is, someone who solves problems for society. And if you can maintain a living for yourself doing that, you are a valuable human being. You're a valuable man. And if you're judged based upon your monetary status, even when you're adding value that holds the entire infrastructure together, if you're not recognized while you're doing that, you're probably going to get unmotivated. You probably won't want to work. You probably get depressed. And because of your lack of selection, you will cease to provide the same tier of value. The infrastructure will fall apart, and you'll just have a lot of men with contempt, and it's a disgusting thing. It's a very disgusting thing. And this is something that needs to be solved, because if it isn't, if this intention isn't addressed amongst women, the average man will no longer hold the fabric of society together. And the same tier of prosperity that allows their women and children to walk in broad daylight, the same prosperity that allows women and children to walk in broad daylight, that will dissipate, and it will become a far more dangerous society. Without them altogether, it is dangerous. It is destruction, death, disharmony. It's a very dangerous place without men. When they stop being motivated to contribute back to society, you can get an infection, you can die. You can have plumbing that doesn't work, you have soiled water, you can have your roof leaking, bacteria getting in, animals start infiltrating these. It's a very difficult environment when men aren't motivated to provide and protect for the world around them. And so disrespecting men by saying they're not worthy, that hidden intention, saying they're not valuable, saying they're not worthy of building a future together if you can maintain harmony, it will disenfranchise, destabilize, break society. It'll break society. Peace.